Alright, I took the plans out, and what I'm going to be doing is doing some initial sanding to set up the geometry of the guitar. And I've been looking at the plans here just to see if they specify the radius for the top and the bottom anywhere, and I don't see it. I thought maybe we'd see it here somewhere, but I think common radius for Martin is a 15-foot radius on the back, and 20. The top is flatter, but it's still got a radius, and I got a 28-foot. I'm going to put a 28-foot radius on it. Alright, how I'm going to radius it is with these sanding discs here, and they're going to sit on this radius block, and this is actually, it's been machined so that it's this particular sanding pad has a 15-foot radius, and then I have a 28-foot radius over here. So I'm gonna have to put the sandpaper, have to take the backing off the sandpaper and stick it to these. But before I do that, let's go back over here. A couple nights ago I made a jig, a sanding jig. This board right here, and basically what it is, it's a plumbing flange here that I've got a 6-inch piece of pipe that will sit here in the middle, and this has been, I put the mold on here and I centered this perfectly with the mold, and then I put reference holes here in 4 places on the board, and basically I've got dowels that I made that'll fit in those holes, and then on the mold itself I drilled, they're actually 3/4 inch dowels, so I drilled holes in the molds, and that will keep my mold centered to this. So we'll put the mold in there with the sides, and then I'm going to put a hole in the middle of those radius disc, sanding discs that I've got there, and that's how I'm going to end up sanding the sides here. So maybe we'll get that done tonight here. So how I'm going to do this, I measured the sanding disc here, and it's perfectly square. It's 2 by 2. So I'm just going to find the center by connecting the diagonals. So that should be it. And then the pipe nipple that I have is 3/4, so we'll put a 3/4 hole right here. Alright, we got to get to the point now that we got to get the sides into the molds, and right now the sides are longer than they need to be, so we got to cut them back equal, equal parts. And the way that I did this, or gonna do this, I put the side in the mold with the top facing down, which is the flatter side, on the table. I pulled this in here with clamps, and then I traced the line at the end of the mold here. I put a line on the back, and I put a line on the front here. And then just to make sure, I put it down on the table, and I used the machinist square. Because we have to make sure that this is going to be absolutely square. Put it down on the table here, and I checked it. There we go. Checked it for square, and that line is perfect with the square. So I know that I can cut this. The other thing I did just to check too, I laid my sides out on the plan, and I draw a center line on the plane here. There's a center line coming down, and I just made sure that the lines that I drew in the mold matched up approximately with the center lines, and that the side kind of followed the shape of the pattern, which it did. So I've kind of checked and double checked before I do any cutting here. All right, so okay. Well, this is what I came up with. I got the spreaders in. We cut these two sides. You can see they're a little tighter on the bottom than the top, but it's not a big deal because we're going to put it's going to be a neck block in here, and then the same goes on the back here. You know, I lined up the stripes, but we put the tail block in, back here, and then eventually this is going to be taken out of here anyway, because I'm going to have a wedge, a back wedge in here. And what's happening, it's tight on the bottom, loose. If I was to sand a little on the bottom here, I think we would tighten that up. But as I say, I'm not too concerned about it. Okay, I put the spreaders in. I also put some dowels in here just to kind of act as spreaders and keep this solid. As I say, there's a gap up on top here, but I'm not too worried about that because I'm putting a wedge here. If I was just going to put like a small plastic stripe or something back here, then I would take it over the sanding table and get this edge to join up better. It's tight at the bottom, loose up here, but the grain lines are all lining up, and that's all I'm really worried about right now. So let me go get that sanding jig, and we'll just do an initial sanding on this thing. Right now I've got the top facing down because that is the flatter part, even though we haven't really trued that up or sanded it. And this is just initial radiusing, so we don't have to do quite as much when sanding after we put the kerfing on. Because like right now, for example, these two back pieces, they don't match exactly. This one's a little bit higher because I just did some initial bandsaw cuts close to the line. So this will get both these down approximately the same. So what I'm going to do is just mark the top here with some chalk. I'm sorry, this is actually the back. Just so we get a reference. And I'll go get my 28-foot radius. Here it is. Line up the hole. And basically see what we're doing. Okay, well, you can see it's starting to take areas off, but this is completely centered with the entire mold here, so we're taking off equal portions from all the way around. Go over here so I don't lean any one way. Okay, well, this has still got to come down a little more back here. You can still see there's some chalk here. Definitely some chalk still on this side. So let me just mark it again here. See can see how it's coming out on this disc here. And this is brand new paper, 80 grit paper. You know what? I told you we were gonna. I just thought of this. I knew there was gonna be mistakes every once in a while. I'm using the 28, right? And the 28's for the top. This is the flatter radius. I should be using the 15. Right? Because I have, this is the back. We want more of a radius to the back. And a 15 foot is a more severe radius than a 28 foot. The radius is nothing more than, here you set a point and you measure out basically 15 feet, draw a radius, okay? 28 feet, go further, draw a radius. So obviously, the further you get away, the shallower the curve is. And we want more on the back, we want more of a curve to the back, so we want the 15 foot. It's close, just a little more on this side. It's pretty good. It's all gone on the right side. There's just barely any chalk. It's just right here. Let's see if we can get that gone, and then we'll be done. That's pretty good. Okay, I'm ready to go with the top. It's the 20 foot radius, and it's the same thing. I've chalked it up, and I'm just gonna take the chalk off. That's it.